Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the channel. I appreciate you being here as always, and today I have another golf ball review for you today. Today is the Wilson Ultra 500. Now, this one actually is the red version. They do make a couple versions of this, but what I'd like to say first of all is after doing some research and looking at them, they pretty much all have the same compression and they have the all same dimple pattern, which honestly leads to me to believe I don't think they're any different. I think it's just a marketing scheme to do different colors. I mean, I know one of them says 500, distance and 500 accuracy and 500, but when your golf balls have the same compression and they're all two-piece and they all have the same dimple pattern, I'm going to assume they're going to be pretty close, or at least close enough to where I don't have to test them all individually. So this is going to be it for the Ultra line, just the red one. And then I think it's actually the same with the Wilson like Tour Velocity or whatever it is, the Velocity models they have. Same thing, same compression for all three. They have like an accuracy one and blah, 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 but they're all the same compression and dimple pattern and core, so it's not going to be that big of a difference. But for now, let's get into the Wilson Ultra 500. Let's see how it did. So I've had a lot of success with two-piece golf balls recently, especially from the Wilson line. The zip was amazing, but I've also had some tougher ones like the Wilson 50 Elite, which honestly just didn't perform that well, and considering how great the zip was, it was really a shame. So we're going to kind of see again, basically everything's kind of competing against the zip at this moment, not because it's the best golf ball I've tested, but it is the best Wilson one I've tested so far. So we're just going to see how it compares to that and see if it can beat out, because Wilson's price point is just so good on the zip. It's not bad on here either. I mean, essentially, you're in the $1 a golf ball range, like $1.25 a golf ball range, which is about as low as it gets. Nice little two-piece distance ball. You can feel it. It's not super coated by any means. It's got a very cheap, iometer or Surlyn cover on there. And honestly, you can just tell it's not going to grip a green very well, but it is going to grip your club very well and get you some added distance. So hopefully that reflects in the numbers. So first of all, let's start with the design of the golf ball. As you can see on the front there, it says Ultra 500 with a 5 next to it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, just to be completely honest with you. And the reason I don't is because it's a little gimmicky. Wilson usually I think of classy. They've been in the game a long time. Their Wilson with the curves and the cursive usually looks really good. I love their logo. I love how the black and white they use for their tour golf balls is just really modern, but it still looks classy. They just have a great design going on. This looks like kind of like a nitro ball, you know what I mean? Like it's like Ultra in all capitals, 500 block letters, 5, almost like it's supposed to be like a, a crazy rad ball. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't think that's Wilson. Looking on the side there, the alignment tool is abysmal. It's the smallest font you've ever seen with the great Wilson cursive logo. And then I don't like the arrows on the side there. It's just so small that it's just really difficult to line your golf ball up and try to hit it. But again, the dimple pattern seems fine, but just the cover feels so cheap. Honestly, I'm not impressed with the overall design, but maybe the numbers will outweigh that. Now, normally I would take you out to the pitching and putting green to kind of show you, like how it's doing. But I got to be honest with you, you'll see why I didn't in a minute, but I can just tell you the ball doesn't spin a lot. It doesn't spin at all. Let's just be honest. Let's call it what it is. It doesn't spin at all. It feels very rockish. It feels very hard. I don't like the way it comes off the club. Putting, it does have a decent roll, but that's about all it has going for it. You're going to feel it. It makes a loud click. It's a very loud sounding golf ball. Even if you hit it in the sweet spot on your putter or on your wedge, you're going to hear it. It's going to turn a lot of people off. It turned me off. And then essentially that's about it. I mean, there was nothing spectacular. There was nothing really that I thought, wow, okay, I can make this work. It was just everything was like, ugh. Like, can I stop this review now? So around the green, not impressed. Let's see how these numbers are. Let's dive into the 9-iron first. And essentially what we're looking at here is 106.3 on the carry, 115.6 for total yards, ball speed 84.4, launch angle 25.9, and then those numbers are absolutely horrific. Like, those numbers make me sick to my stomach to look at. Like, whatever the previous record was for worst golf ball, this by far has just blown it away. I'll get to more of that in a second on my experience testing it, but if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen any of my reviews before, I'll tell you my averages. My averages usually on carry, 123. 123 is a great ball. 120 is probably the average. 106.3 is what I got here. I lost 14 yards of carry on average with this golf ball with a 9-iron. on a two-piece golf ball. 115.6, again, 129 is probably my average, same thing, 14 yards of total distance, awful. Ball speed, 84.4, my average is about 91, 92. If I get 93 or 94, that's amazing, but 91, 92 is my average. So I lost about 8 miles an hour of ball speed. Awful, awful. Launch angle 25.9 with a 9-iron. I like it to be about 20, 21. I like a little extra height out of it, especially with a two-piece golf ball because I know it's not going to spin as much. But 25.7 is or 25.9, excuse me, is a little high. I mean, it would probably stop on a green because of how high it's going, but that's crazy. That's way too high. Overall, those numbers are just abysmal. We'll just move right into the 7-iron here. I also don't like the way the golf ball feels. Again, it carries over from the green. It's hard, it's clicky. It feels like there's a delay when you hit it. It just doesn't spring off the club very well. The forgiveness. Now, keep in mind, these numbers are with me deleting other numbers that were worse. If I hit the ball 11, 12 times, I'm going to delete 3 or 4 of the worst shots. So even though I deleted those worst shots, those are still the averages. So those are on good hits. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, I was just hitting it off the toe every single time, or oh, I just wasn't having a good day. Those are all solid hits, and I made sure of it. And one of them, I had to go down to 5 shots. I hit 11, I had to take 6 away. I mean, the golf ball was not performing. And again, the feel was just horrendous. It was not a pleasant golf ball to hit by any means. But let's see how much worse these numbers can get, because 7-iron, you know, it is a harder golf ball. Maybe it'll compress a little bit better off the 7-iron. No, it won't. 131.9 on the carry. My average is usually about 150, 149 somewhere in there. Total yards, 160 is probably my average, or 158, 159, somewhere in there. 146.2. Again, lost about 14 yards of distance with the 7-iron as well. So I've lost 14 yards with both the 9-iron and the 7-iron. At least it's consistent, I guess. Swing speed's really good, right there where it needs to be. Ball mile per hour speed, 98.4. I normally get about 106. Under 100 for a 7-iron, I wouldn't even hit this golf ball if there was water and I just needed to throw one away, or you know, if I was just like, oh, hit one into, I mean, maybe if I just wanted to hit one into the woods to be funny, but that's about it. I mean, I can't ever see me, under 100 for a 7-iron is nuts. I mean, my 8-iron gets about 98 miles per hour on a normal golf ball. So, I mean, we're talking about a whole club difference. I mean, it's significant. Launch angle 17, that is low for a 7-iron, but it's not bad. I mean, it's not like abysmal or anything. That's just a low launching 7-iron. Spin, 6,113. That's a very low spinning golf ball. Doesn't surprise me there based on the cover. It's supposed to be more of a distance ball. Yeah, didn't do that one very well. But overall, those numbers are just horrendous. Let's look at the Utility 5, which is a 5 hybrid, of course. This is 163.8, 179.6, 111.7, 15.9. So this one actually launched a little higher. It actually launched really high with the hybrid compared to normal. And then spin was 4,592. So the spin was actually very, very, very high on the hybrid. Very high compared to what I normally get. So not only is the golf ball not performing well, but it's not consistent. It launches low with the 7, high with the 9, high with the hybrid. It'll probably launch low with the driver. Anytime you get inconsistencies like that, I hate it. And it's really what can separate a golf ball from something else on the market. But those numbers are abysmal. I usually get with a 5 hybrid 115, 116, somewhere in there. So I lost about 5 mile an hour of ball speed. And then as far as total yards, I lost about 10. So not as bad, not the 14, but I lost about 10 yards. So, I mean, it is compressing a little bit better. But, again, this is the one that I only had 5 shots because I had to delete so many from. So, again, the numbers are okay, but I had to delete so many just to get them to that point. So, really disappointing there. Driver, 200.7 on my carry. I normally get about 215 to 220. 220 is where I like to be. I'd say 220 is probably average. So, 200, I lost 20 yards with the driver. I lost 20 yards on my total distance. Again, only 5 shots. I had to delete so many bad shots because the forgiveness on this golf ball was so horrendous. Imagine on your pure strikes, you're losing 14 yards, and then you hit one, and the forgiveness is like a 1 out of 10. Now you're losing like 25 yards, 30 yards. I mean, if you use this golf ball, you're going to be wondering what's going on. 125.9 on the ball speed. I usually get about 132. Launch angle was 14.3, which is actually average. It's not even low. It's not high. It's average. Overall, it did seem to launch a little all over the place. Like some were low, some were high, some were in the middle. And then spin was 2,650. That's probably one of the lowest. I think that is the lowest I've had for the driver. So it's a very low spinning golf ball when it comes to the driver. I mean, you can probably get a little bit extra juice out of it, especially if you swing fast. But the problem is the numbers aren't good enough and the ball isn't designed well enough to get you anything from the get-go. You're going to be losing so much that it's irrelevant. So abysmal numbers there. Real quick, we'll just touch on the durability. It's okay. It didn't have a thick coating on it to begin with. And then when you add the fact that I hit it a bunch of times, I mean, you can feel the scuff marks. You can feel it. You can feel how it's just not as good. It feels like sandpaper almost. It doesn't feel really good. I wouldn't recommend it for more than just a few holes. Really not a good testing there. The Golf Dot completely came off it, and the Golf Dot I usually use as a good way to tell like how much it's compressing and how the durability of the cover is holding up, and this thing came off immediately, so the cover is just garbage, unfortunately. So getting into who's the golf ball for, do I recommend it? No one and no. It's awful. These are by far the worst numbers I've ever tested. Now, real quick, if you're wondering at this point, let's say you do use this golf ball and you're wondering, like, you're just flabbergasted and you're like, Nick, I love that golf ball, man. Like maybe it just tested wrong. Maybe something happened. Maybe you weren't. So when I was testing this golf ball, I actually had 4 different golf balls of the Wilson 500 Ultra. All the red one, all the same. I don't know how I ran into so many of them, but someone gifted them to me. Actually, I think I got a couple from a friend, and then I actually got a couple from my merchant guy who gives me extras if he has them, who sells golf balls for a living. So I had 4 total, and I tried all 4 of them. It got to the point where I was so flabbergasted by these numbers myself that I grabbed another one and put it down, and then grabbed another one and put it down, and they were consistent. They were consistent. The golf ball is just terrible. And really what it goes back to is, why does Wilson have so many golf balls? You know, why do you need the Zip and the 50 Elite and the Ultra 500 and, you know, the Velocity, you know, the Tour Velocity or whatever it is, and, you know, the Wilson Ultra 300 and 400 and all this other stuff. I mean, I'm exaggerating at this point, but there's all these different golf balls. You don't need that many. Just really narrow it down to a few. Get a couple 2-pieces, get a 3-piece, get a 4-piece, and just do them really well. Stop trying to just flood the market with this bull crap, because this is abysmal. The 50 Elite tested really bad. This one tested really bad. And I'll tell you something, Wilson, if it wasn't for the Zip, I'd be really upset right now. The Zip is the only thing holding Wilson on, because as a guy who really does love Wilson, I love how their golf balls spin. I love how they react off the club. The Triad didn't perform very well for me. It was more of a fast swingers golf ball. And then I've had a lot of unsuccess with these golf balls. Now the good news is the next one coming up is like the Duo Optics, the Duo Spin, stuff like that, and I've heard really good things. I've had some comments that have said, hey, those golf balls are phenomenal, I've used them exclusively, so I think those will do better, and those have been around for a while, so I hope that's the case. But as far as these Walmart golf balls that are like $1 golf ball that are being flooded with the market, the idea that you have 3 of them and they're all the same dimple, they're all the same, you know, core, they're all the same compression. What are you trying to do here? Are you just trying to control the market? I mean, I don't understand it. It really upsets me. I'm disappointed. Be better, Wilson. That's what I have to say. Clean this up. This is just crazy. So I don't usually get really emotional about, you know, golf ball reviews unless it's excited. I love getting excited, but I usually try not to harp too hard. But these numbers are unforgivable. You know, only Jesus could forgive these numbers. I can't. So Wilson's going to need some divine help. So overall, guys, more golf balls were coming soon. I appreciate you being here and coming through this, even though it's not a golf ball I can recommend. Maybe you got to laugh at it. I don't know. But coming more with soon. Keep watching to keep saving and keep learning. Thanks, guys.